Good morning, fifth graders. Today is the second lesson on week 4, I believe, of spelling. So we're going to get right to it. Hopefully you remember we're talking about polysyllabic words this time. And let's go ahead and get started. This is kind of an interesting piece that as fifth graders, you get to do, and that is word history. So occasionally we'll come across a word and I get to tell you where the word is from and what it meant in the original language. So we're going to start with the word tank, T-A-N-K, and tank means a container for storing liquid from the Gujarati language in India, And originally in India, the word meant pond. So you can see how tank is similar to a pond, just man-made and enclosed. So I find that really interesting. That is on our list for this week. Okay, let's get back to some polysyllabic words. We're just going to practice again. What I want you to be doing when I'm doing this is thinking about your syllables, your first syllable on your wrist, your second syllable on your elbow, and if there's a third, it's going to be on your shoulder. Of course, if we get to a fourth, we'll be right on top of our heads. All right, let's try reading every syllable. So our first one is impact. Impact, if I say that too quickly, I might think IN or I might not hear the CT. So you really want to make sure that you are saying the syllables slowly and clearly to yourself so that you can then spell it correctly. IM in the first syllable, PACT in the second syllable. Crisis. Cry is that open syllable. When we hear a long vowel sound at the end of a syllable, it is often going to be spelled with just that vowel that we hear, that long I, that vowel that says its own name. So that I sound. Cry, C-R-I, and then sis, short syllable, closed syllable, S-I-S. We hear that short I, it really clearly. Impressed. Now, impressed can be kind of difficult. So impressed, let's at least take the M away from there. I am. And then pressed, think about the base word of pressed, P-R-E-S-S, press, and then we're adding the ED to it. Remember that even when we hear the T sound at the end of something, a word like this, impressed, we are going to use the ED as the spelling. Tidy, again, long open, both of those are long open, long vowels with open syllables. Tie, T-I, D, D-Y. This is a good one to remember for remembering that the Y is the letter that makes the long E sound at the end of a polysyllabic or a word that has more than 2-syllable word. Because we hear it all the time. Happy is another one to remember. Long E sound at the end of a word that has more than 1 syllable is often spelled with the letter Y, and the letter is acting like a vowel in this case, that vowel Y. Shadow, shadow, shadow. We have the short A sound, so we know the D belongs to the first syllable to close it in around that short vowel A, shad. And then O is, remember there are 2 sounds that OW makes, long O, like in this case, shadow, or ow, like an ouch, that hurts, like in the word cow, for example. Suspected, now we have 3 syllables, suspected. We added that ending onto the end. So S-U-S in our first syllable, pect, we want to hear that P-E-C-T, and then the ending E-D there at the end. And hidden, hidden, 2 short vowel sounds, hid and den. We know that hid, we're going to have the D behind the I there because it's a short I sound, and then doubling that D, D-E-N. You could think of that as, it follows the same rules as hid being your base word. It has 1 short vowel and 1 consonant following the vowel. We need to double the consonant D and then add the ending EN, which starts with the vowel E. So you see how that follows that same rule, right? Okay, a few more words to go over. Steel is a homophone of steel. Steel, S-T-E-E-L, is the type of material, strong metal material, steel, and the homophone steel is the act of stealing, to take something from somebody else, S-T-E-A-L. I wonder what we could think about for the difference. Maybe In the second one, we steal an A to make that long E sound. And in the first one, we just use two E's. Extremely, again, X-E-X, treem, T-R-E-M-E, long E sound is made with E, consonant E, and then our ending, ly, we know that the ly, the L-Y, Y is making that long E sound at the end of that polysyllabic word. Conflict, this one's pretty easy, conflict. Again though, flicked, we're going to hear it better if we really draw it out into its various syllables. We're going to have that CT sound at the end. Airplanes, here's this guy on one airplane, air, A-I-R, that is a R controlled, so we're going to talk about that again later, but A-I-R, air, and then planes, P-L-A-N-E-S, that's, remember that homophone of plain and plain where the buffalo roam, P-L-A-I-N, or plain yogurt. This one is the different one, P-L-A-N-E, vowel, consonant, silent E, and then adding the S on for the ending. Punish, pun, we can tell that's going to be a closed, the N belongs to the first syllable because the U is short, pun, so P-U-N, and then adding on ish at the end, I-S-H. There. Details, D, again, open syllables, so we have the long E sound, D-E, and then tails, spelled just like a cat's tail, T-A-I-L, and then we're going to add the S on the end there. Gravy, long A, G-R-A-V-Y, long E sound in the second syllable, spelled with the letter Y. And loan, L-O-A-N, if I give someone a loan, I loan my jacket to my friend because it's cold outside, L-O-A-N. Kind of, if you think about steal and loan is kind of the opposite, but they both have the letter A in them. And then the homophone is lone, as in I am alone, or the lone wolf prowled the mountains. So that's where those two homophones come in there. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit of word writing just to get ready for our spelling test. Go ahead and take your marker or your pencil and your writing notebook out. And let's get started. Let's do our first word. Let's try extremely again. Extremely. So we're going to do our first syllable first. X is EX. I'm going to go ahead and put the dot there just to help us remember. You don't have to do that, but it is a nice way to get used to spelling by syllables. Treem, T-tr, I can hear that TR. That is a consonant blend. E-M-E, that's that E, consonant E to make that long E sound, and then ending in ly. Ly, L-Y, the Y spells that long E sound at the end. The next word we're going to do is low. The groups spoke in low voices. We're going to use the OW here as our long O sound, like no, slow, snow, and low, all spelled with that OW at the end to make the long O sound. The next word we're going to use is cheap. These shoes were on sale. They were very cheap. I want you to say that word cheap. There's the consonant digraph, two consonants coming together to say one sound, ch. And then the EA is going to be our long E sound with the P at the end. I will tell you this has a homophone. It is what little baby chickens say. What do they call chicks? They say cheap, 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 and we just we say EE on that one. And what I like to remember with that is that they say it over and over again. So you can think of the E repeating, cheap, 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 and then the two E's in there. But cheap, the first one, it means something that's inexpensive. The next one is laid. We laid the baby on the bed. L-A, remember we have two ways we could do L-A-Y-D, but of course we know we cannot use the Y in the middle. So we're going to say L-A-I-D, we laid the baby on the bed. The next one is the word ourselves. This is a compound word. We're going to write the word our. Now, this is a very common mistake. A lot of students, just actually not in the word ourselves, but a lot of students mix these two up. Our means belonging to, and our, the second one, is a verb. We are at the zoo. We are not at school, those kinds of things. So are and then selves, S-E-L, self. And then of course we need the E after the V because the V can't be the ending. And then we're going to add the S on to that, ourselves. Okay, let's try the word wide. Wide is super easy because it's just that first spelling of long I, I-D-E. Go ahead and try conflict. That's a good, easy one to do. Con, and then, and then there's our consonant barrier, our syllable barrier, sorry. Flicked, short I, flicked, C-T. We hear both of those sounds there. Punish is pun, which is our P-U-N, pun, short U sound, and then ish. Very simple. That one is way too easy. Details, D-E is that long E sound because it is an open syllable. And then tail, just like the cat or dog's tail, and then an S on the end of that. And we are going to do one more word, the word twice. Twice. So we have the, oops, I need to get a new spot here. Twa, and then I-C-E, just like in the word ice. All right, so we're going to stop sharing there. I hope that helped a little bit to clarify how to spell polysyllabic words by syllables. Remember to really say the syllables, slow yourself down, and then spell them one syllable at a time. I will see you for the spelling test.